the Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, August 18th at 6 p.m. Could we stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So, next item on our agenda, number 3. Go ahead, Ross.
All right, I'll make a motion to move to executive session for the purpose of potential litigation with MSHG. Then adjourn executive session, reconvene into open session on item 4.
Yep, perfect.
Second.
Motion by Ross, seconded by Mike. All in favor, roll call.
Smith, aye.
Davis, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Bone and I.
Fitzpatrick, aye.
All right. All right, as we're back in open session, on to number 4. Just underneath the citizens, actually underneath the chairman's announcements, I just want to take a moment of silence for Ernie Marks, who was part of the town in 41 years in the fire department, as well as served the highway first,
Civil defense.
a lot of terms and on a lot of boards and committees, including the planning board for about 30 plus years. So. Okay. On to another item on the chairman's announcement. Polly's Push is making its way through Massachusetts, which is great. They'll be stopping off at the fire department tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and then they move on from there Thursday morning onto their next stop along their journey. So just want to let citizens be aware of that. It's a good opportunity. It marks the 25th anniversary of 9/11, so just as a reminder for folks. Also, just underneath the chairman's announcements is our AgCom group had their first board meeting. Kudos to them and convening and stuff, as well as Ross for helping out with their kickoff meeting and their appointment of their new chairperson. So I think it's a good undertaking.
I haven't watched it yet. Who became chair?
It's Autumn.
Autumn, right out there, right? She's with the Boston Red Sox, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, oh, sorry. Yeah. Autumn was the chair person that got appointed, which is great. Ross, what else?
Yeah, Autumn is chair, Angela is vice chair, David is secretary.
Yeah, the tape's available and so folks can take a look. It was a great kickoff meeting. And also our ADA, I think another committee that first year kickoff as well, so highlighting that. Anybody else wish to add anything on the chairman's announcements for us?
Yeah, I was approached by, a couple weeks ago, I was approached by Rebecca LaValle. She can pull the mic over. Sorry. This is good. Oops.
That would be a problem. We'll get rid of that.
All right.
We'll have to share it.
There you go.
Yeah, there's
Cord.
That's fine, that's fine. I'll kind of hold it. So a couple weeks ago, I was approached by Rebecca LaValle. She's...
Yep.
What kind of... All right.
No, it's all going all around.
All right,
the
there.
table.
Oh, sure. Now we can now.
Thank you.
All right. That's easier.
There we go.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I was approached by Rebecca LaValle. She's with the Historical Society and the library in town with an idea September 19th, they are unveiling an interpretation board at the at Soldiers Field. It's the 80th anniversary of the Red Sox-Yankees ball game that took place in 1946. So she had approached me because we put the parades on and asked for a little bit of help to put a ball game together on the same day. She thought that'd be kind of cool. So we're working on that. We are in contact with the Mudsville. They came through here, I think, last year. So we need to put one team together. And we're thinking anybody on the PD, fire department, highway department, anybody that wants to, select board, even citizens at large, if they want to join, we'll put a team together for September 19th.
Are they playing the old rules?
I think so. No glove.
No glove?
Yeah. So,
Tough for your guys.
we'll have more details coming up, but, but I think it'll be cool to put on a little game.
I feel like it's like the, Harlem Globetrotters against the Generals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But hey,
All good stuff.
it's all in good fun.
That movie Sam.
Sandlot.
All in good fun. Just want to make that announcement.
I appreciate it. Good deal. Underneath Citizens Forum, anybody wishing to bring anything before?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Are you going to have any time limits on people speaking? I notice we have a big audience now.
Yeah.
Just in the consideration of time.
100%. There's, I think the standard practice is 3 minutes and no more than 5.
Well, is it 3 or 5?
Yeah, right.
Set a time.
Yeah. No, I think, 3 minutes.
And just for some clarity, if I could add it, Citizens Forum is only for commentary. It's not for any discussion from us because it's not an agenda item and it would be in violation of open meeting law.
100%.
So we take it under advisory, and if it's warrants it, we could put it on a future agenda for further discussion.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that everybody understands the rules of the game before you start, so then there's no miscommunication and misunderstandings.
Yep. Perfect. So, Citizens Forum, anybody wishing to weigh in on something, just come before us, just name and address. Again, it's going to be, and you got a chair here and a mic, but your name and address and Douglas. But again, and if you wish to be put on the agenda in a future meeting regarding anything, so we can look to schedule that accordingly.
Thank you.
So, your name?
Is this, can everyone hear me?
You got to speak into the mic.
It bends.
Yeah, you can pull it towards you as well.
Towards you a little bit more.
Ross already gave us the demonstration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This has got a short
Is
cord.
this working?
a little more into the mic.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Dylan Landry, and I'm a Douglas resident at 156 U Street. Earlier this week, I submitted written correspondence to the board regarding the town's use of automated license plate reader technology. On August 4th, I also submitted a public records request seeking information concerning how the system is authorized, used, and overseen. Those records should help provide a factual basis for public discussion. I respectfully ask that the board place automated license plate reader governance and oversight on a forthcoming agenda, receive a briefing on the safeguards currently in place, and determine whether a formal municipal policy is appropriate. Greater technological capability should be accompanied by greater accountability. I have also printed copies of my correspondence to the board and my August 4th public records request. I would like to submit these to the board for the record and ask that they be retained as citizen correspondence related to this matter. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else wishing to weigh? I think, yep, we get time for. name and address for the record, just for our minute taker.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
You want me to wait?
Okay.
No?
Okay. Good evening, members of the Board of
Wait a
Selectmen.
minute. Wait a minute. Your name and your address.
I'm about to.
Okay.
Okay. Wait.
My name is David Millette, and I live on West Street in Douglas, Mass. I'm standing here tonight because our town is quietly expanding a pervasive automated surveillance network using flock safety license plate readers, and they are doing it entirely behind the backs of the taxpayers. I believe that the flock company, in one of their memos, said not to have a public discourse as it may jeopardize the flock system. I recently submitted a formal public request to the Douglas Police Department because the funding mechanism for these surveillance cameras is deeply troubling. The town is bypassing traditional budgetary oversight by using civil asset forfeiture funds to buy, install, and maintain these flock systems. For those who do not know, civil asset forfeiture allows law enforcement to seize cash and property from citizens before they are even convicted of a crime. Using the specific funds to buy AI-powered tracking cameras means our police department is funding a surveillance state on the backs of unconvicted citizens without a single vote from the taxpayers at town meeting. This is not a partisan issue. It is a fundamental issue of constitutional rights and fiscal transparency. Flock cameras log the movement of every innocent resident driving to work, dropping their kids off at school, or running errands. We are tracking our own neighbors, and the money trail is completely hidden in police ledgers. If the police department wants to install townwide tracking infrastructure, it must be debated out in the open, funded by transparent tax dollars, and voted on by the community, not slipped through via backdoor forfeiture accounts. Here's what needs to be done immediately. First, the Board of Selectmen must order a full, transparent public audit of all Douglas Police Department civil asset forfeiture fund revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 2022 to the present. Second, the board must place an immediate freeze on any further deployment or subscription renewals of flock safety cameras until a clear, enforceable town ordinance regarding data privacy and funding oversight is publicly debated and passed. We deserve a local government that respects both the privacy of its citizens and the transparency of its finances. Stop the off-the-books surveillance funding and bring this data out to the light. We have been told these cameras are passive tools. However, information reveals that the Douglas Police Department is actually logging in and checking these automatic cameras up to 3 times every single day. They are scanning the data from a wide variety of different things, moving far beyond any limited scope we were originally led to believe. This isn't a dormant system sitting on a pole. It is an active, thrice daily digital checkpoint monitoring the rhythm of our town. Taking a single picture of a car passing through town might seem harmless to some, but that is not what is happening. Douglas is a small footprint, roughly 30 square miles, yet it is being blanketed by a high density of these tracking devices. When you cluster this many cameras in a tight geographic area, it ceases to be a crime-fighting tool and becomes a pervasive tracking web. They track you where you go, when you leave, when you visit, who you visit, logging the daily measurements of every innocent driver in town. And because of this severe dragnet, tracking towns and cities nationwide are facing massive legal liability right now. Just this past April, drivers in San Jose, California filed a class action lawsuit.
Dave, we're out of time.
Okay.
Listen,
Thank you.
Out of respect, again, we'll, if you want to, request time on the agenda to have a more in-depth conversation, we got to do it accordingly to open meeting laws and follow those laws and stuff like that.
Okay.
As an agenda item. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Any Dallas, I guess, you want to come before us?
Is anybody else here from the block cameras though? Yes. Okay, you go first. Mine's different.
It was, again,
He's special.
yeah, I mean, I think,
My name is Patricia Clunan. Selectmen.
Yep.
I live at 23 Chestnut Street in Douglas. And I have a concern about the flock cameras installed in our town. I would like to see it as an agenda item in the future. It has been used for nefarious reasons in other places, and there are currently lawsuits going on with them. I'm very concerned about it. I don't know why we have to be tracked with everything that we do, everywhere we go. It's not a good thing. So I would like to see that as an agenda item.
No, that's fair. Again, that's what the Citizens Forum is for.
Right.
Is you bring something before us, and then we can put it on an agenda ahead of them and have a more of a formal discussion and exchange with the board. I do appreciate your time.
Thank you
Look forward
very
to
much.
that. All right.
Somebody else in the back.
Yeah. One more, you want to come before us regarding the flock, and I think after that, we got to...
I'll just speak loudly from here.
Okay.
I'm Robert Jack. I live at 180 Wallen Lake Road. I've been following the flock cameras that were installed since December of last year. I'll make this simple. The gas station downtown has lost $4,000 from our household because we don't go downtown anymore. Put that on your agenda. Our businesses are losing money because people don't want to be tracked. I don't want to be tracked digitally on my phone. I can control that. I can opt out. I can't opt out of your garbage. If I did what you're doing and created a database, you'd call it stalking and you would arrest me. That means it requires a warrant or probable cause from your end to search on that database or even to collect that information.
Okay, I appreciate you coming tonight. I think we got Dallas, I think, to close out the Citizens Forum. One last item.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, there's other people that want to speak on the block.
Again, and we will place it on an agenda item for a future meeting.
They prepared specifically to be here tonight.
And again,
You let them.
I mean,
They don't have to go in.
when before we started, we said 3 minutes and 5 people and stuff like that. I really want to follow the open meeting law related to putting it on our agenda. You know what I mean? That way there, we follow everything related to the state law regarding open meeting laws as an agenda item.
Or it'd be just respectful to people that...
No, and I think a lot of the exchange has been respectful throughout, so I don't want to go back and forth, and we'll go from there. Dallas.
Hey. Hello, everyone. Dallas Keeney, 13 U Street. So I'm here on something different. I actually wanted to ask for you to draft a statement concerning the departure of our previous town administrator, primarily because there are a lot of rumors going on around town, and the local newspapers have become involved at this point. People are confused on the timeline. On your June 30th meeting, you all voted unanimously to accept his new contract, and you were praising his service. You were looking forward to working together. And then between the June 30th and when our police chief was put in as interim town administrator, there's nothing on your books about an executive session or an emergency meeting voting on placing that on administrative leave. I'm not asking for the personal reasons behind what happened. That is your business and that is Matt's business. I am asking for clarification for the people in town regarding what happened to place him on administrative leave, when it happened, and if you did truly approve his new contract, what is the financial implications for the town because of the way his contract is written in the past, especially while we're looking for a new town administrator.
That's put on a future agenda, just like everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Sideline it, but
Do we have that statement?
his resignation is with the town clerk. It's stamped in, so you can easily get a copy of that.
Could you speak into the mic, please?
I said his resignation is with the town clerk. It's been stamped in, so if you wanted a copy of that, you could get that.
Will
You hear me? Yeah.
Will you be explaining when this happened, a timeline of what occurred, so that we
No,
can...
as I just suggested to the chairman, we can put it on a future agenda, but like everything else, and because it's not on as an actual item on our agenda.
No, I understand.
Prohibited from open meeting law, so if the chairman so chooses to put it on a future agenda, we can easily discuss it. There's not much to discuss, to be honest with you.
No, I understand. understand. There's an unfortunate amount of rumors going on. It would be great to have everybody on the same page.
Yeah, I even heard that one of us got arrested. I haven't figured out which one yet.
Yeah, in Missouri, apparently.
I can't run fast, so I'd be easy to catch, but...
Was it in Missouri?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dallas.
You guys, all right.
Mr. Chairman,
You want to, go ahead.
I kind of agree with the Vice Chairman. Would you entertain another 10 minutes or so to hear from some other members of the audience?
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, anybody else want to weigh in on citizens forum?
Want to speak on it?
I mean, I want to give you the opportunity, but also be respectful of having it on our agenda, so everybody can attend in that forum. That's the correct procedure. Again, I do respect that you came out here, you know, and again, taking your time out of your day in anything to come here and weigh in on our agendas and stuff like that. So and discuss things. But I think, you know, it being on our agenda actually creates it more of an exchange, and it's the important thing. It's more relevant at that point. So. You know, anybody else, again, we can do 3 more people if they want to come before us regarding but we're going to probably have it on a future meeting, and that way there we can talk a little longer and a little more exchange and discussion from there. But right now it's really a one-way conversation until we have it on our agenda. So I want to be respectful of everybody's wishes, and I think the wish is that, you know, it'd be on a future agenda and for a little more longer discussion. Make sense? Fred, you want to come before us?
No, just a quick question.
Name and address.
Yep, I was just saying it. Fred Fontaine, Charles Street. Do you think discussion of block payments will be on the next meeting's agenda?
It'll be on upcoming.
I got to just look at what I want to make sure that when we've got room on the agenda and the appropriate time and stuff like that, amount of time, because again, we don't want to go over 2 hours on our agendas and stuff like that. But I want to make sure that depending on what's on the current agenda regarding town government, but it will be an upcoming. So we've got 2 meetings in September. So I probably look forward to putting on one of them in September. Is it fair? Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that guy in the blue.
Yep. Question on that. What about like records, requests for information?
Who is
Will
that?
those be answered?
What's it, just name and address?
Dylan Landry, 156 U Street.
Okay.
I'm just wondering about the records request for information.
There's a process in town government that when you...
I submitted to the police chief on August 4th. I was going to submit my records request.
There's a procedure with records requests and stuff like that, and available staff. There's a whole thing that goes through. Again, and I'm pretty sure that some things, you know, take time to get through. Some things are short. You know what I mean? I've done records requests. So again, they're not ignored. So if you make a records request, that's all. You know?
Being processed, you will receive it.
I'll get it to you.
One more, name and address. Go ahead.
Robert Leonardi, 78 Pine Street.
Yep.
I don't need a microphone. This is more just as more of a question, I guess, to the Board of Selectmen is, does the board have the authority to request suspension of the utilization of these cameras pending the next meeting at which, you know, there would be an open forum for the
you should, you know, serving on a board, it has to be on the agenda to take any appropriate action in any way or any lengthy discussion at this point. Without it being on an agenda, it's a one-way conversation with no possible votes or possible length of discussion from us. So
one clarification. Thank you.
So I will definitely look to have it on our upcoming. We've got 2 meetings in September right now. We'll go forward from there.
Thank you.
All right. I do appreciate, and everybody else wants to weigh in on it, but I look forward to when we have it on our agenda, have a more longer discussion from there. Any, one last one? Go ahead.
Cleon McClure, 30 years down Chestnut Street. What's the proper procedure for submitting information to the board, or keep it for the next meeting, on the misuse of data from Flock, the data selling of Flock, those kinds of things, so that you have a complete picture of all the things that Flock has been known to do out there. So what's the procedure for that, please?
So procedure with anything that you can send in a packet to the Board of Selectmen and we get a copy of it and stuff like that. And, you know, if it's on our agenda, we can actually look at it and appropriate and have a discussion from there. So, okay.
I know I've had my 3 minutes, but could I quickly say something? something that might help everybody?
No.
I think we want to be appropriate for...
10 seconds.
Go ahead.
No.
If you go to Douglas
Okay.
MA Citizens United group on Facebook, you will find all the information that the chief and the police department have given us.
Okay, all right. So, appreciate it. All right, anything else? We'll move forward to number 5 on our agenda. Our highway department and building maintenance department update. Mr. Adam Furno. Adam, I do appreciate your report in our packet and the update tonight regarding all the things that your department does.
Sure. Again, Adam Furno, Highway Superintendent. So I did give you all a packet about, about things that are going on, where we're up, what we've been up to. Basically, the first item on the agenda here that I have is the staffing concerns that I have with the highway department. In 2013, the maintenance manager's position, the maintenance manager was retiring, and I was asked to take on the town's building maintenance along with my full-time duties at the highway department. And because of a financial downturn, and they needed to make some cuts to balance the budget, the maintenance position has remained with me for 13 years through my promotion of foreman and now superintendent. Since being promoted to the highway superintendent 3 years ago, I'm no longer compensated for this position and would like to see this position as a standalone full-time position again and off of the highway department. The funding for the position was eliminated 3 years ago along with the full-time position from the highway department. The highway is down to 6 workers and myself to take care of the whole town. We lost part-time money last year along with that other full-time person, and we still have building maintenance. Our highway department workload has more than doubled since 2010. And the employees have been reduced. We lost 4 summer positions in 2010 and a foreman's position in 2023 when I was promoted to superintendent and a full-time laborer in 2025. This just discussed, I know things are we're gaining more roads, we're doing a lot more. Stormwater management has become even bigger, and I lost a lot of my knowledge people, Ernie included. All the people, the old retirees have all retired in the last 5 years, and I have everyone there except for myself and one other person is 4 years and under. So it's training on the job, and as I've stated to you guys before, it's a learning curve for everyone.
And just, for our, reminding us, or as well as education of the public, how many buildings are you covering in addition?
Right now I have the police and municipal center here, library I assist with, the post office and the senior center, adult social center. I get yelled at for calling it senior center. Yep. And we also still take, we help board up the old grammar school, the old VFW building. So any kind of thing, like if the town takes a building for tax purposes or anything like that, it ends up on me to board it up and to secure it and things like that. So basically the maintenance position's like like the highway, it kind of, everything falls to us. So.
And just on those duties and stuff like that, because I know when you're also covering the school when they're on vacation, as well as when there's emergencies that they can't figure out how to.
Correct. We work with the schools. We work, again, we mow all the ball fields now, which is, in the last, I think, 13 years we've taken on that. We've taken on several other things throughout town. All these events, they're wonderful, and I'm very happy to be part of them, but they do cost money, they cost time, to set up. And so, the way Oktoberfest gets, it takes us a week to set up Oktoberfest, and this year the grass doesn't stop growing. Everyone can see the brush is growing as fast as we're cutting it, and the grass is still growing, so I have 2 guys dedicated 4 days a week cutting grass. So now that puts us down to 4 people. And then we're supposed to be cleaning catch basins for our stormwater permit. We're supposed to be cutting brush with another guy, so that leaves us 2 guys to patch roads, which we do very often, three days a week, and then myself. So there's a lot to it. And like I said, one of the things I just wanted to bring up with the new town administrator at some point was, getting my staffing back and getting another position off of the highway as the maintenance position.
Okay.
Just so if I could add to part of what Adam's talking about, to 2013, I got onto the BFCC, and that's around the same time that Adam started with the facility stuff after Ricky retired. And at that time, and for a few years, it was a split position for him. So he was funded 20 hours a week through building and facilities. He was funded 20 hours a week through the highway department. And then when he graduated up to where he is now, once he became salary, he could no longer get compensated for the building and facilities, but he had to still do the work. And it's a tremendous amount of workload. What do you say you put in a week?
I would say anywhere from 55 to 60 hours. And that counts hours at home. I have a laptop I take home with me every night. I do work. I was doing work the other night at my son's football field while he was at practice. I take it everywhere with me. I took it to Las Vegas when I went on vacation. So that's how it works.
My concern is he's not the compensation's not being considered in my mind fairly. When he took over the position, John's position at the highway department, because he's new to that position, he drops down to the bottom of that tier, right? But he still has all this other responsibility, and then we take his foreman away from him, right? So now he doesn't have the ability to have a second in charge. Or somebody's got to try to do it and not be compensated for that, which is another problem, right? So it's just something to consider moving forward. It's not fair for one employee to be burdened with that many tasks. We should at some point, and that's an administration issue. It's not ours. We're not the appointing authority, but we can at least suggest that we give the guy some help.
Makes sense.
I think we get a tremendous amount of value from a small number of people. I'm always amazed at the various skills they have, conduits and things like that you would have thought they would have subbed out or contracted out, but we have a lot of capabilities with the people we have there, so it's a good asset for the town.
Right.
And again, we have a lot of young guys. Like now, it's myself and one other who've been through it all, so, and him and I both have all the licenses to keep everything going, but it comes to a point where we're trying to train, so now I'm holding hands training, which is great, because the young kids they got to learn, we all want to be there, we all were there at some point, and someone trained us, and but it takes time. It takes my time, it takes his time, and it's a lot, so, and again, like I said, and I'll be back to probably present to you guys before winter again for our snow update. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm already starting, don't worry.
Gene's right behind.
He's
from behind yet, so, but yes, unfortunately, I've already started working on some of the stuff, trying to get that together. So again, so in here, I have patching costs, how much we've spent, the costs for this year for asphalt, our pothole complaint list, our pavement studies online. For anybody who's listening and wants to go online, it shows them, basically like, our pavement condition index for the whole town, where we are, and then it also shows you each road and sections of roadways and how much it costs and things like that. Just some updates, and you are the road commissioners. The updates on projects that you've already approved. Johnson Court has been done. The total project cost us $419,416.46. Maple Street has been completed.
Could you just highlight on the Johnson, because also I think the last sentence is important as well.
The project came in under budget by $124,159 from the original estimate, which is good. There was different factors into that. We did have drainage, things like that. So, but it definitely came in under budget, which we were very happy with, which, again, that rolls back into another project, which Maple Street, we did some drainage over there and a small amount of paving, but it was more of a drainage project. Again, all this comes out of the paving budget, $523,738. There was a lot of conservation measures that had to be taken place, Army Corps of Engineers, things like that had to, because of an old dam that was there, things like that. South Street, as people can see, the state, the highway department in the town received a grant for $1 million for paving on South Street. Mass DOT was in charge of the project. It's not a town oversight project, but they finished the paving. They have some driveways to address, some berms to address. They don't communicate very well. MassDOT doesn't like to communicate for some reason. I don't know why. I found out from the paving contractor that they were coming 3 3 days later. So I quickly ran and put the signboard up, and that's how it worked. So I haven't gotten much communication from Mass DOT at all, but I luckily have a good relationship with the paving contractor, and that's how I got my info. Depot Street, I'm not going to steal Bob and Eric's thunder, but you can see that's moving along. And the last project that you approved that you wanted to move forward with, Northwest Main from Ledgestone to the Sutton line, is going to go out to bid soon. I thought we were going to go to spring. Everything lined up. The highway department did all the drainage work that we wanted to do. So we're going to try for a September 15th bid opening. So we're going to go out to bid soon, and we're going to try to get this done, wrapped up before November 1st.
Yeah, and just to highlight on Northwest Main, you guys did the drainage, which was a big savings for the town.
Yeah, it was. Taking
care of those and versus it going out.
It comes out of my budget, but I mean, like I said, those are projects that we can do. They didn't involve, like, Southwest Main's different.
Correct.
Southwest Main's a project you guys also wanted to go forward, not for next year, the year after, but that involves Bad Luck Pond. It involves a lot of conservation, things like that I can't, I can't do with my small crew. But Northwest Main was something we could definitely tackle, and we did. Tomorrow we're doing Oak Street. We have a cross drain that's rotted, and we're gonna repair that, replace that. Excellent. So crack sealing was done. It cost us. I usually try to spend between $60,000 and $80,000 a year. $61,630.
Adam, on the, I don't want you to jump over the crack ceiling. Is it, if you drive out to the school's driveway and stuff like that, as well as our parking lot, is there any coordination with the schools so we can crack or work with them on crack sealing? Because
they can. We'd have to put it out to bid. So when I put it out to bid, I have to include everything per the bid. So they bid on the street. So these, what I have listed here, the bid package stated these. So if I couldn't add anything else on. But next year, if you decide to go forward with that, we can add the parking lot here and the parking lot at the school.
The school would have to get a hold of them.
Correct. And it would have to be a coordination of funds, how it's going to be paid, because my money comes out of Chapter 90. They won't pay for a parking lot here.
Right.
Parking lot at the school.
So that would most likely be a capital item.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly. Same with the parking lot.
I just know when I was driving up there, and I was like, this is crack sealing could make that roadway much improved and last a long.
This parking lot here is in the same condition. I actually, I've noticed it as the maintenance manager. I've noticed I had that on my list too. That needs to be done.
Appreciate it.
Paving funds this year. Chapter 90 is going to give us $614,413.82. The town's going to contribute through capital, which we're very appreciative of, another $360,000. And we have the Winter Recovery Assistance Program funding, which was just relayed to us about probably a month ago, of $201,853.51 for a total FY27 paving budget of $1,176,267.33, which is great. We're going to start Northwest Main with that, and we've already starting the engineering on Southwest Main. So we tried for 2 grants. Unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in both. I tried for one for a culvert on Wallace Street and Webster Street. That was in one grant. I was turned down. I tried for the flooding at the fire station and was turned down again. We're going to keep pursuing them. That's what we do. We try and then we fail and we keep going back at it. So we will try again. I am working on it. I did finish a grant from Mass DOT for a culvert at the end of Southeast Main. There's a culvert that's starting to fail. They wrote me up for it a little bit. Some erosion measures, things like that. Old metal pipes that were there. So I'm working on a grant for Mass DOT right now. I'm waiting to hear if we've received it or not. It'll be a few weeks. Capital update. Thanks to the Capital Committee, we've received 2 new highway trucks, which is fantastic. We still have 2 more to go. I will put it on. They've been on, but we have a 2008 truck. They tell us these trucks last 15 years. It's just they're rotting out. It's just what happens. We wash them after every storm. We take as much care of them as we can. Unfortunately, with our garage, some of them sit outside off and on. We try to rotate through. But and the new backhoe scheduled to be delivered in October. So that's even better. Line painting. I just wanted to put this on here just to show, as we pave roads and as we do line painting, the cost how it increases. So in FY20 we spent $9,341 in paving, line painting. I'm sorry. In FY27 it's $29,000. That budget's still the same, even though I've lost $20,000. That comes out of my budget. It's not been increased. That's what has to happen. So and you can see, like I said, and as we add, like Depot Street wasn't on here this year. That would be $30,000 or more if I added Depot Street, but because Bob Bob Sullivan and Bob Manerick, their water project, they're going to repave the lines, so I didn't have to do it this year.
Yeah. And your department paints the lines?
No, we hire someone out.
Yeah,
We paint the crosswalks, but we don't paint the street lines and all.
Crosswalks, yeah.
So street sweeping, I think I brought this up in May too. We don't own a street sweeper, we rent one. We have a local contractor out of Millbury. He's a great gentleman, and he doesn't charge us a lot to rent a street sweeper. We only have it for 2 weeks a year. We rotate, we do all the MS4 per our stormwater regulations that we have to, and then we rotate the other third of the town. So unfortunately, I have to tell people, like on Old Farm Road, that's not in the MS4 district. I'm going to do it this year, but now you're waiting 3 more years, or 2 years for the third year again to land. Eventually, he had told me already, when the sweeper dies or when he retires and he sells everything, we're out of luck. Yeah. So it's going to come to that point. I mean, he only charges us $8,000 a year to rent the sweeper for 2 weeks. It's where
the driver?
No, we drive it. One of our guys. So
how old is he?
He is. So he was just. I'll be honest with you. He works for. He subcontracts for Lynch, who was on South Street, and he told me, "I'm getting ready." He says that's what he told me when I met him and talked to him. So yeah, he says it, but he said it for a couple of years, so we'll leave it at that. But
same problem with the brush guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and a new sweeper, I priced it out as $335,000 for a sweeper. And I mean, like I said, I don't mind when it wears out. When it's his, because it's like he brings me a set of brushes and we can continue on. So right, it's not my cost. It just all it cost me is the $8,000. When it breaks down, he comes and fixes it. So that'll be something that we'll have to address in the future. As the stormwater regulations becomes tighter and stricter, and we gain more, like we're going to, we gain Joseph Road now. We may gain William Drive once they reevaluate it. That may end up being in the stormwater district now. So that's another road I have to sweep, and now another road I have to clean the catch basins every year.
He'll donate it to the town, take a tax.
He may. I'll take it if I can get it. I'll be honest with you. It's an older one, but we'll take anything we can get. So, yeah, so there's those stormwater regulations. I mean, again, the state puts this forward, Les, you've been involved in it too. We have to abide by them, and we have to file our permits and everything every year. So I have to show how many catch basins I cleaned and how much we did accomplish every year and things like that. And so then I'll keep going. But there's tree removal on here, how many trees we've done. Again, right now we only have $10,000. In the fall, I'll be asking for another 50. And I have a list already over 20 trees starting, and I've got 2 days planned for next week for the tree company to come in.
And just regarding the tree cutting and the tree removal, that's actually saved us a lot of power outages and a lot of issues that some of the other communities have dealt with.
It still happens. It does. It still happens, but I'll tell you, we've done a lot. I'm surprised with some of these windstorms that I don't get called a lot more. We do lose trees here and there, but in a lot of the trees, the last 2 that came down were full. Like they were green, and you wouldn't even know they were dead. That's the scary part. It's inside on the base that lets go, and then that's when you find out it was rotted. But so I'm going to go into the new Selectmen Fitzpatrick and myself, Weston and Sampson have been working for years on a site plan, a layout for a new highway garage. Like I said, I know that's.
I think we finally figured it out.
I think we've got it all narrowed down. So I mean, that'll be huge again for equipment. To make equipment last longer, things like that. We have a lot that sits outside.
Should have those plans in 5 weeks.
Yeah. So we are working on it, and I just wanted to throw it on here. So back to catch basins for MS4, which is the stormwater. We have 510 of them that we're supposed to clean every year. That's just MS4. I still have another 350 that are non-MS4 that we have to clean.
Yeah.
So you can see we try to do the 510, which I never get all 510 done. But I try to do the 510, and then I also try to rotate through the non-ones because I still need to make sure the drainage works. So I have a guy that's on that as much as he can be. The problem is, again, we're short-staffed or, with this, so he's bouncing on it one day, he's off of it for a week, and then he's on it one day, and then he's off of it again.
And I mean, you got over, close to 900 catch basins to go through and clean, in a small window, right? So you got maybe lucky 7 months to go, but you got other work in addition, but almost 900 catch basins is a tremendous amount to go through.
We will go as long as we can until the first snowfall, because then the truck has to be turned over, so it's a process to shut the hydraulics off to the boom, winterize that whole thing, and then put the plow on it and the sander on it. So once it starts to snow, that's when we stop. And then we start again in the spring once we can take it all apart. Again, the town has 83.6 miles of road and 15 miles of private road. One of the things that, I did want to bring up to the board here is I think it would be helpful as the road commissioners to look at requesting Ridge Trail be paved because it's state-owned. I think it would be helpful. I've talked to a lot of residents up there. I feel bad for them, just like a private road. The private roads don't have really an outlet unless they want to get together. Well, Ridge Trail's a state-owned road. The state doesn't want to take ownership of it or recognize that it's a road. They tell me it's a trail. So we maintain it the best we can under the private road twice a year as everything else. But it would be nice if we could talk to our legislatures, write a letter or something to try to get that paved. We're willing to, we plow it and sand it now. It's not that's not an issue. It's just the constant need of a grader and up there on that end. It would just be nice if the legislature could look at it and say, okay, yeah, we do own it. Let us pave it to the trailhead, and then you guys either take it over or you guys can just continue what you're doing. But
how long is that?
It's not even a mile. It's not. Yeah, I mean maybe to the gate it's a mile. But it's not that long. Like I said, we did reach out to the state one time, and they're like, yeah, we don't, it's a trail. No, it's not. You have full-time residents on this street that you should look into. And so it would be nice, if, since we have an avenue that maybe we could approach them. If you guys could pave this, we still don't mind plowing, sanding it like we do. We do it for public safety passage like every other, even private road in town. But it would be nice to see that at least it's one more off the list. I mean, there is, barring, and I'll make the statement because I have a grader on Capitol. I don't foresee us ever buying a grader, all right? Orange Street is the only town road that needs a grader. And if that ever got taken, changed, whether it gets paved and widened and the right things done to it, then we won't need a grader. Because the small little roads, I can't fit a grader on anyway. Like Laurel Glades, it's private, but I can't fit the grader down there. There's no way to turn around. So we have to backblade it the best we can. Ridge Trail's the other one, but we can grade Ridge Trail. Shore Road and the side roads off of the terrace, we just backblade them. Again, they get
those are private roads.
Those are all private roads. They're not public roads and not town-owned roads. The only other one that's town-owned is White Court, which is regrind, which, that's where the fishing game club is. So, which eventually, like I said, would be it's a town-owned road that we could pave at some point on our list. So I just don't want to, you can look at a new price of a grader, it's over $545,000. I can't see putting that into a grader.
It doesn't make sense.
And honestly, and I'll be honest with you, looking at the electronics in some of these new graders, I'm scared. I don't want to even touch it. Give me the old one with the manual controls. I'm good. Like, I can do that all day long.
How long is Orange Street?
Oh, I can't remember, and I know I wrote this down, but I don't have it.
Maybe 1.2.
Yeah, exactly. It's not,
Is the state working on, I'll have to dig it up, I thought the state was working on some type of grants regarding dirt roads.
We did look into it, Matt and I did look into that, and it wasn't for that process. I can't remember exactly what it was. We had reached out to the state, Matt and I together, because we thought the same thing. Hey, wait a minute, this is a great avenue for us, but they shot us down right away. So we didn't qualify for what the reason was, I can't remember. But
I think it's probably a yearly conversation that pops up at the state level again. A lot of communities that are rural. But no, you highlight a good point regarding Ridge Trail, and we can probably discuss that in a future meeting and put together maybe a letter of support or something like that regarding that.
At least it asks.
You got to ask the question to be able to get it done.
It takes one more.
Highway gets beat up pretty good about the conditions of the roads in town, but they're doing the best they can with what they have to work with. There's actually a lot of work gets done each and every year because of the road. We have so many roads in town, and the conditions of the roads, it's near impossible to try to get them all done. And a lot of them have a lot of issues, whether they have drainage that was done back in the day and nobody considered where it was going. Now somebody put a house in the field and their drainage is going in there and everybody's screaming, jumping up and down. There's no legal easement to drive and put the water there. It creates all these issues and challenges for the highway department to try to get these roads done. And the scoring process that Stan Tech put together that we have in that road study is based off traffic and the condition of the road. So it's not preference as to what we think should be done. It's actually a grading system, and Adam's been very good about following that. The Johnson Court got done, people could argue about that, but if anybody knows the history of it, we had such a water problem there.
Yeah.
It was a dangerous situation that had to get corrected.
100%. No, that's good.
I just wanted to add that to the conversation.
And there's, like I said, there's a lot of things that, and I brought this up to you, I think, in May when we talked about it too. You can see, like, there's certain roads that you can cold plane down, like mill down 1.5 inches and put back, like they did South Street. They milled down 1.5 inches, put back like 2 inches, and put a crown back in the road. If you have a good base, that works. If you don't, then there's a problem. And you're just going to top coat something that's going to fall apart in 5 years, and then the taxpayers, including myself, are going to be upset when it starts cracking and everything's going bad in 5 years, versus something that should last, a good 15 or longer, at least before we see the first pothole, and I want to make progress in those things. And it's hard for me to say, like, example, Birch Street, I was just on there today, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is in pretty good shape. That would be a perfect road to cold plane out, but do you want me to skip Northwest Main with all the big potholes that everyone's hitting, or do you want me to do Birch Street, which everyone's going to yell at me for because, well, this road's in good shape, why are you doing it again? You just come to that, these are hard decisions. I bring them forth to you guys as the road commissioners, and we go off the list and we do the best we can. And
I mean, just speaking, I think we're fortunate to have almost $2.5 million in road improvements this year, with the $1 million plus for going to South Street, right? Yep. And all the additional work that's being done. So, and the additional 200,000. So you got almost, almost $2.3 million of road improvements that are happening via the grants, and so it's definitely.
Unless you live or use that street, a street that's been corrected, you can't appreciate the work that's being done. That's the challenging part for people. I can understand the frustration, but there's only so much that's done each year.
And I try to, like I said, when I know I hear about the Facebook, I've deleted all my social media, believe me. I learned 3 years ago when I took over, I realized it's time to do that. But unless you realize the cost, people don't understand prevailing wage and the cost that it is for us as a town versus it is for your driveway is a big difference, And I love educating people. If anyone, wants to talk to me, please call the highway, leave a message if I'm not in. I'm mostly on the road a lot. I'm out there with the guys doing work. I was, today again, and I get my messages at the end of the day and try to return them the next day. So, but again, I love to figure it out and tell you how much your road's going to cost us. And, and like I said, and you can look at Southwest Main from Cedar Street to where we left off at Streeter Trail. It's going to be almost $1.4 million by the time we're done. Like for the cross drains and the ledge and, some tree cutting and things that have to get done, it's going to cost. So it's not a cheap thing, and that may be 2 years of Chapter 90 in order to make that happen. I won't know the exact number until we finish the design and everything like that. But,
appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Appreciate the update, Adam, definitely. Yep, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Yep. Number 6 on our agenda, Depot Street project update, crosswalk, striping, surveying results, and possible votes. Mr. Bob and Eric.
Good evening. Bob and Eric, Economic Development, and assisting Bob Sullivan for the Depot Street project. The Depot, well, first of all, kudos to Adam. This is going to be a tough act to follow. It always is. For the Depot Street update, it's been a challenging couple of months. We were supposed to have this road paved a couple of months ago, and all we had to do was move 8 poles, and it took 2 months to move 8 poles to get them out of the sidewalk. I don't know if you remember, but the old curb was in front. The poles were actually in the gutter, the old poles. So when we made these sidewalks ADA compliant, we had to take the old poles and put new poles on the backside. And National Grid, first 4 holes they drilled, they hit ledge. Then we waited 3 weeks for a coring machine. Then we got hit with a bunch of thunderstorms in the area. So National Grid was working nights, taking days off, no work going on Depot Street. So this has been a very challenging 2 months to get these 8 poles moved. We poured the sidewalks last Saturday. We have a pre-paving meeting tomorrow morning, and we're scheduled to pave all day Friday, the complete street from Railroad right down to Main Street. So that's basically the update on that. I know it's been tiring, dodging enlarging raised structures, but that was scheduled to be done 2 months ago, and it's just factors beyond our control at this point in time. Any questions on Depot Street paving?
No, thanks for getting it done since I was cranky.
Well, I understand why. I think we were all cranky. It's just, like I said, it's been challenging, because you think of 8 days' work taking 2.5 months, it's frustrating.
Well, it's the weather.
Yeah.
You get good adhesion, you have to do it during the warm months.
Yep. Forgive me, Bob, you know my passion for pedestrian safety, but...
Well,
we saved the crosswalks for you.
You walked in at the opportune time.
Perfect.
In your packets, I've got a couple of pieces of paper. One is we had a safety meeting, and the safety committee decided on adopting the longitudinal bar crosswalk pattern for the future crosswalks in Douglas. The stripes are 18 inches wide by 8 feet long on cross streets, and I mean on a crosswalk that crosses a street where you get a intersection with a stop line, they'll be 6 feet long. You don't have to have the full 8 feet with 18-inch spaces, and that's basically the diagram of what it's going to look like in the future. Adam, Bob Sullivan, and myself are working on a manual, a chapter go into the manual for just crosswalk pattern striping. We did the, what did we do last year? We did the road moratorium last year, so we'll just add to that manual for policies and procedures guidelines manual. We took a survey of which stripes people preferred, and there's a test pattern painted on Depot Street right now. They are different. The stripes are the same size. The only difference is the town hall side has 18-inch spacing. The Martin Road side opposite town hall has 24-inch spacing. You have the results of a survey with this sheet right now, and we were running 33-2 favoring the town hall side, which was the 18-inch spacing with 18-inch stripes.
34-2, Bob. If you get 36 people, it's 34-2. Right, you got...
Yeah, but number 22 is... Oh. Read number 22. What does it say?
Oh, all right. So...
There's a no vote.
I come prepared.
So you got... All right.
I knew that would be
You
asked.
don't ever try and catch Bob on anything. He's covered.
Well, I thought Gene would,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do it, the guy
Exactly.
a pilot. It's redundant.
Great.
So I presented these results to the safety committee. If you want to review the results, all the surveys are right here, but it's tabulated on this one sheet. When we have a safety committee last week, presented this information, and the safety committee recommended adopting the 18-inch pattern. Okay. So that's all I have right now.
Okay. So they're going to pave and top coat?
Paving the top coat. It will start at 7 o'clock Friday, and whenever they're finished, we're anticipating 7 o'clock. We've got 4 detail officers. We'll be discussing a lot of this in detail tomorrow.
Okay.
Striping, we're looking at striping it probably within 10 days. Let the oil at least settle, because it'll bleed through the paint. Okay. And speaking of striping, I know Adam brought up the $29,000 striping. Every road we do, we're just adding to his striping. So I think we need to address that at some point to make his budget realistic, because right now it is fictitious.
Yep.
Just some clarity on the crosswalk. So this new striping will go on to Depot Street.
Yes.
But it's not going to go on to the other streets. And the reason why I say that, let me finish, is if you start changing the crosswalks, you're going to have to make it ADA compliant. You don't have the luxury of just changing what you're doing. Yep. So we're not going to go around town restriping all the crosswalks in town to match this diagram. As the roads are improved and they become ADA compliant, then they're going to follow the new
Correct. Some of the crosswalks are ADA compliant already elsewhere, North Street, for instance. We could do that one.
I'm looking not to add cost until we get to that point.
Yeah.
But also not add
budget constraint.
Yeah, I'd say also not add confusion too, right? So North Street could be an example where one side of the street's, regular lines and the other one's new lines. So again,
The street, what do you mean? I'm talking about the street itself, like this street got done, so this one's gonna have new lines in it, but then you go down Main Street, some of them are yellow, right? So I don't think the idea is to go and paint the road black and then put white lines on it. And as that road gets improved, then we would change it at that point.
Saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But as Adam does a sidewalk, he should use the new striping pattern instead of the old striping pattern.
Correct. Yeah. If he corrects the problem and makes it ADA compliant, then he would update the crosswalk. Once you change the crosswalk, you have to make the whole thing ADA compliant.
Some of those crosswalks have the signs and they are ADA.
That's my recommendation, is to do the roads that have been done.
I would move towards uniformity.
Eventually.
Yeah, how we get there.
Well, that's what I mean. Eventually, you're going to be uniform, but are you suggesting to redo all the lines now, Tim?
That would be cost prohibitive and probably very time consuming.
I think we just gotta, again, come up with a plan.
Any new one, you follow the new guidelines.
That's all I was suggesting.
I think we're all on the same page. Okay, Bob, anything else?
That's all I have.
All right.
Questions for me?
No? Very good. Appreciate it. Thank you for
Thanks again.
get us update.
Hopefully we'll have some real good news, and when we finally finish that street, I'll come with with an update, a closure.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Number 7, the municipality center gym scoreboard proposal / Jason Town possible votes. I think he's in the audience.
How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good. All right.
So, scoreboard.
Scoreboard. So the scoreboard in the gym down the hall here is over 20 years old. It's touch and go when you turn it on Sunday mornings. We're always a little bit nervous it's not going to work. We did feel like it was time to replace it. The good news is that Douglas Youth Basketball became 501c3 status or gained that status this year, so we're actually able to get a committed donation from Unibank to sponsor 70% of the cost, and then the additional 30% the Recreation Commission has approved funding from the donation fund. So it's essentially completely funded. Installation would be, if we get approval today, would be in either probably late September, early October. I understand that's a project in the gym. I intend to be there in person to supervise it. I'm not sure of exactly what their procedures are, but we'll find out once we get to that stage. So just here, seeing if you guys have any questions or not.
Is there any logo have any value for somebody that wants to have nostalgia maybe around that?
I do not. That's one thing I plan to investigate, is what to do with the old one once it comes down. I'm going to ask the vendor what typically is done with those. I know they don't take it away with them, so it's possible we could donate it. It could be used for some other purpose. Have not got that sorted out yet, but that'll be something we figure out soon.
It's a great man cave thing.
Yeah.
No taxpayer funding is this. This is through the donation raised by this very program that you represent today. So I have no problem with it. I know Unibank sponsoring. I imagine they're looking for their logo either to the left or to the right or underneath.
Underneath, most likely. I did include a rendering in the materials. Right. It's essentially the same scoreboard we have today. It's just the latest model.
Oh yeah, it's the back.
Yeah.
What's on the scoreboard now for a logo or anything?
Nothing. It's just a plain scoreboard.
It's pretty simple, just for the audience. Yeah. Pretty
similar to I think what they have at the baseball fields.
Yeah. Home on one side, guest on the other, right?
Yeah.
A bonus and Yep, on both sides, and Unibank.
It's a pretty common practice.
Yep.
Brilliant marketing out of them. I mean, there isn't a scoreboard, I don't think, in the Blackstone Valley that doesn't have Unibank there.
Yeah.
Football
Kudos to
fields,
them
the whole
for-
thing.
What's that?
Football fields and...
Oh, yeah. Everything.
So it made it really easy for them to say, okay.
Yeah, it was.
You guys, I mean, again, someone to underwrite 70%, and at the end of the day, it's going to be no cost to the taxpayers, and it's an improvement to the building and the facilities that you guys host basketball tournaments and a lot of things down there.
Yep.
So it's, very straightforward.
196 with 12 minutes and 53 seconds left to go in the game. Who's the smart aleck?
I don't know. I didn't create it.
If you're looking for a motion, I'd make a motion that we approve the Municipal Center Gym scoreboard proposal that's been presented to us tonight.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Hal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So hard, nothing, moving forward.
Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, Waynesville Fishing Game Club Annual Field Day Event / Special One-Day Alcohol License Application, Entertainment License Application, and possible votes.
Hello, good afternoon, evening.
Into the mic. Name and address.
There we go, how about that?
There we go.
So I'm here requesting a special one-day liquor license for the Whitenville Fishing Games Club's annual Field Day event. We're looking to do the event on September 19th with a rain date of September 26th, running from, with setup and the event and close down between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Okay, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on the 19th, which is a Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
I submitted checks and request documents for the one-day liquor license as well as the entertainment fee, because we will have a live band playing at the pavilion.
Good. And yeah, be over at 8 o'clock or so, music, whatever.
It may trickle over for cleanup, but the service will be completed well by 8 o'clock.
And this is, you guys have done this quite a few years or in a row, right? Field Day, so,
yeah.
I mean, probably
For a long time.
Cool, excellent.
Paperwork's in order too.
Perfect. Makes it easier. Any questions for the board? Anything? Ross, you good?
Yeah, no, it's always a good time.
Good.
Make a motion to approve their entertainment and liquor license application.
Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Hal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. You're all set. We'll get it done and get out there and for the 19th.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing it. Congrats.
I'll be in touch with the lawyer.
All right.
Thanks, Lisa.
Number 9. Let's move forward. Town administrator vacancy process discussion and possible votes. So,
Mr. Chairman, if you take a look at that, put together a couple of options for you to consider. We went back and we looked at what was done the last time, the last process that you had. That's option B. That was your board appointing a screening committee and an interview committee. As part of that interview committee in the last process, a member of your board was the chairman of the committee, and it was comprised of the finance director, the executive assistant, who was Suzanne Kane at the time, fire chief, who was Chief Vincent at the time, police chief Foley at the time, John Furno, who was the highway superintendent, and you had a citizen at large on that committee. The other option would be option A, is you as your board conduct the process as you see fit. And each option there that we put together has a timeline, rather aggressive, but it moves the process right along. And all of this can be tweaked. We just wanted to put something together for you to look at and get an idea, a starting point, if you will, and whatever you choose to do, a direction you want me to look into with Lisa, Jean, and Holly, we can certainly do that.
Okay.
Just to stick with the timeline, we would really need.
Can't hear.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear.
Sorry.
Along along with the town, the
Yep.
timeline.
Yep.
We need you to make a decision on either A or B tonight, just so
100%.
we can
Yeah, any customization.
move along with it.
100%. So
I guess what we're trying to tell you is if you were going to go with option B, we think we would need you to vote on which option you are going to go with and be prepared on your next meeting, according to this timeline, to appoint your committee.
Yep. I open it up to the board with thoughts.
Tim was going to say something, so I'm not going to interrupt.
Glad all 5 of us are here so we can have an open discussion on this and look at these options.
So I think there needs to be a process before it gets to the board. My one concern with option B is I think it should be a citizen-driven process. You don't necessarily, I don't mind a couple staff members on it. I think there's more than enough capable, able, smart, intelligent volunteers in the town that know what they would like to see in a town administrator. I would maybe look at a committee of 7 with interested applicants coming before us by the 1st to be voted on by this board as to who would be part of that appointment screening / interview committee. The reason why I don't think a board member should be on it is simply the 5 of us all being equal. One shouldn't be able to veto a candidate prior to a full process being played out. Beyond that, I don't really have ideas as to who might be on that, but I'm hoping there would be some volunteers that have been involved in the town, maybe numerous years on a particular committee or many, or even those that may not be serving now but have in the past, I think would be candidates worth taking a look at.
My thought process on that, I agree with you that not one of the 5 of us should be on the initial part of it. When it gets down to the recommended finalists, that should be presented to us, and then that's when we engage into it. But at the same, with that being said, I would also like to see all applications, or just put a set of eyes on it. As far as the, I guess the term would be screening committee, right? I've thought about this quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, and you have long-standing employees that are in key critical positions in town that work closely with the town administrator and fully understand how town government works. No disrespect to any volunteers, myself included. We don't know enough about the day-to-day workings of the town to really dive in and do a good evaluation of what that is. Myself, I would think that Gene Lovett, the finance director, very, very important position in town, should be working very closely with the town administrator. That needs to be a good fit. There's going to be questions that I would think that finance director would bring forward that would be critical in a decision-making as to recommending a candidate for us. Lisa Freeman being the administrative assistant, since she's going to be in the room with that person every single day and living this thing for the last six years or so. She knows what she needs as far as help in that office, right? Holly Cottonwa, the HR director, is a very important person. She understands what the challenges are as far as employees in town that we're experiencing and how that's going to be handled, so I'm sure that she's going to come up with. And finally, I would recommend the temporary town administrator, because he knows, especially now, he really knows what the challenges standards are for that position and what kind of personality and experience that we need in that position. So that would be my recommendation, that those 4 individuals, highly qualified, I've worked with all of them, which we all have over the years. The integrity level of all 4 of them is extremely high. I have full confidence that they'll come forward with some good recommendations for us, and then we can make a good decision based on their recommendations. That's all I have.
Ross, anything?
No, I'm kind of in agreement with that, because at the very end, we select a candidate after all the nominations, and it's.
Yeah, the mic's a little.
Not good night for mics.
I don't know what's going on. So anyway, ultimately, we're involved in the final decision anyway.
Yeah.
And like Mike said, I think it would be a great idea to have these resumes where we can actually go over applications, resumes, whatever you want to call them, where we could have access to them and at least brief ourselves on who's coming through the process and be familiar with who may become the finalists.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, I think, just looking at this, again, the first time I'm going through this, I think if you, one aspect of B, again, I'm just looking at like timeline and everything like that, is, the deadline being September 8th, and then the review of applications, if that's done by a citizens kind of screening of applications and stuff like that, but not really kind of to probably identify, let's say, a number of applications, and it goes before the first round, and then the first round is another body. So you can kind of basically, the citizens screening can take a look and chop it down from whatever the number is to a reasonable number, and then you get the first round, and then kind of get to move down from there. We were, and I don't know whether the first round and, with some of the folks, involved in, from department heads and stuff like that, looking at that first round, and then before it comes to us. Timeline. It was just a thought aspect of someone going through and looking through and screening through and trying to identify as well. But again, we'd be able to look at all applications to see if there's any outliers and stuff like that. But at least involving some type of citizens screening committee to look at the ones that were submitted in. I don't know, it's in some aspect of it, but what's your thoughts?
The only thing I get out of that is, the concern that I have out of that is, to make a decision, you have to be well-versed in what you're deciding. And how much knowledge you're actually going to have of how town government needs to run. This isn't like hiring somebody at the convenience store, right? So that's all my concern is. For the amount of money that we have in that budget to pay somebody, I want an all-star. I want to make sure we get a good quality candidate that meets all aspects, whether it's personnel, whether it's budget. And they need to check all the boxes. And I'm not sure how a citizen would be able to do that, to be honest with you. And I've been involved in town government for the last 13 years, and I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
Sure you would.
So I'm just being honest about it, and that's what my concern is.
Yeah, I think there's enough consensus here that we can split the baby and find a healthy makeup. The committee might not be 7, maybe it's 9. We don't know who necessarily would be interested, so it might be premature to draw a line in the sand in regards to the citizenry, but I think there's inherent value in staff taking a peek at who might lead the town, but I know there's value in some of our seasoned minds that are familiar with the municipal, probably attend town meeting not only religiously but for decades.
So let's just take, I think the last three items on B probably are in line, right? So it would be coming before us as a candidate. We could do the interview, finalists, live meeting, right? Which is benefit to the citizens and public. The extra meeting presentation with the finalists to the board. But again, that'd probably be one-on-one meetings and an interview. And I think the application workshop with the department heads and I don't think board members, I think is just, but I think the big thing is the executive team to interview, and be part of that. Almost first level, at the end of the day. If you only do 2 rounds of interviews or 3 rounds, it's worthwhile to have the people that work day to day that interact. Also boards, right? You've got quite a few boards that, and I think that's my thought of being part of that, or just taking a look at that is we got, we get the FinCom and other boards. Worthwhile for them to kind of understand a little bit of a working relationship. That's all.
So part of the thought of that was if you appointed a screening committee, if you appointed a screening committee and the screening committee looked through the applications and came up with a list of candidates to interview for the first round. Now, your board would obviously have access right up until the 8th to all of those applications. What we would think, what I would assume your search committee would do, the chairman of your search committee would get together and they would make two piles, if you will, a sheet of candidates that appear to be viable with town management experience, and then if a member of your board who happened to be looking at it thought that maybe this candidate should be interviewed for whatever reason, you would have that input, and then do the first round of interviews. And after the first round of interviews, we have that 2-week period before your next meeting where we thought that, okay, maybe we can have an applicant exercise where we invite them back to the town hall and department heads, employees, board members would have the opportunity, say an hour or so, to ask them questions, or with the board even here as an audience to see how they answer the questions or what kind of input they have as an exercise. And then after that, we would present, based on those results, those 3 finalists that we thought that you should interview, and then move on to that timeline at the end.
I think the big thing with B, the only thing is, the screening committee, applications and stuff like that, they can screen, but, they don't need to interview because that's going to be the next level. It's like just identify, looking at backgrounds and like that, what are the ideal, the ones that come up there, we'll look at the whole screen, and that can basically be a level along with, our board looking at all the resumes, so we don't have any outliers. Whatever that group is of candidates goes through the first round, right? And I think that's still the timeline. The only thing I think we're almost in alignment with is that the chairing of the screening committee or something like that, if that's a member of our board or is left to someone part of the screening committee. That's all. Because we want to make
member of our board part of the screening committee.
Well, that's the only.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're in alignment that we don't need to be part of the screening committee of the applications in that first step. So that's the only thing I would probably take out of B is that we don't need to be part of that, where they're going to look at applications, but the screening committee doesn't have to do the interviewing, as part of the committee. They're just going to look and say, okay, we're going to look at all the applications and see if there's an outlier that, hey, you know what, we want to bring this in part of the, let's say 5 candidates. Get 5 to get down to 3, 3 to get you down to 1. And I mean, that's the end goal. I think the timeline is appropriate. I think the opportunity to get citizens and committee, folks that want to be part of the screening committee to provide their interest by August 28th before our September 1st meeting. And then we can review who's sparked interest, whether it's a 5-member or 7-member screening committee. Then they can look at all the applications, as well as we're looking at the applications, and we'll come up with, candidates that we want to bring forward, and depending on the number of that. So if you've got 20 candidates, you definitely definitely want to chop it down to something reasonable, so, and go forward from there. But I think if we take out that, does that make sense with B? If we take out, one, the Board of Selectmen's not going to be part of the initial screening committee, the screening committee's not going to do the interview committee aspect.
You're right, you're talking about option B, right?
Yeah.
But that's not even on there. Like,
I was just saying the last,
oh, you're talking about the last.
yeah, I'm just talking about, what's listed here is the last search, the chair of the Board of Selectmen, FinCom, and everything like that was made up of the screening committee. I'd rather have them put their name in the hat. I think it's best for the selectmen to be that kind of last interview process.
Oh, yeah, this is our hire. We're not.
Yeah,
we're not-
but that's what it, that's what it is.
Yeah.
No, what he's saying is take the Board of Selectmen.
Off of
Yeah,
this.
that's all.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Hal, do you have anything to say?
Yeah.
No, I agree with everybody.
Yeah,
No problem.
I think we're all on the same page
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
So I understand that now.
Yep.
On the second item on number B, which is last search.
Yep.
Chair and Board of Selectmen gets removed. You're going to leave the other ones on there and put one citizen at large?
So I personally would like to see up to 3.
Citizens at large?
Yeah.
So,
Just so people feel like there's a process beyond this board and
I have kind of a
staff.
concern with that. Not a concern, but a citizen at large. We got to make sure this person knows how to interview and isn't just,
Yeah,
and I'm not seeing around people out there that are involved with HR and that type of stuff. But this is a top-notch position for the town. We're not, we're not hiring a janitor.
Yeah. No, I think
I have a concern with just appointing, I don't want to say a citizen at large, I know it's just the statement, but that particular citizen needs to be stand up.
Yeah. Well, you would have the opportunity.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you would have the opportunity on.
so you would either have to add one more citizen or 3 more to get an odd number, because you have an even number right now by taking off the chair and the board member.
Like you had mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
HR.
Well, that chair, maybe that's confusing.
Chair and the board
1, 2, 3,
member
4.
comes off, so that leaves 6 members right now, so
Well,
Board member.
so that's confusing on my part. So on your last process, the chair of that committee was a member of the Board of Selectmen.
Right, it was just-
Who was
So that's one position right there.
Yeah.
but still, it only leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now.
Right.
So if Tim's suggestion was to have 3, that makes it 8. So we want an odd number,
Yeah.
right?
Well, if it comes back 4-4, then I don't know if that person's going to be someone that we're going to want anyway.
Are we going to have people apply for these, or?
Yeah, that's, I think we would appoint. So to your concern about Joe Wahoo.
Exactly.
Joe Wahoo probably wouldn't get past our screening. But you could very well get, without naming people, someone on the finance committee, someone on open space, and someone from your master plan that would be great. And ultimately would complement the existing core people identified here.
That's okay.
So,
I'm not we wouldn't take the right of this board to control who's doing the interviewing. That's important.
Yeah. And I think that group's part of the initial screening, and then from there, that group does the initial screening, and then from there, I guess, would do the makeup of that first interview.
I'm feeling very bipartisan and collegial today. What if we just added 2 citizen at-larges to get to your even number? So I would make a motion that we choose option B with the deletion of the representative from the Board of Selectmen, and in its stead, we will add 1 more citizen from the town. Assuming applicants want to serve.
Makes sense?
If that's a motion, I'll second.
Okay. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, motion by Tim, second by Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I think for the citizens that would want to put their name in the hat, we can do it till August 28th, and then we'll make that appointment at our meeting on the 1st.
Lisa, is it possible to send a message out to the chair that they, of all the committees, to let them know that we are looking for reasonable, thoughtful people?
Okay. I think other than that, I think that the timeline that was put forth and stuff like that, I like the aspect of B, the applicant workshop, meeting with department heads and board members. I think that creates an opportunity. Again, we can see some type of more details, more format, whatever else, and coming before us. And I think the other aspect is that I think the timeline works as it gives us a chance to do, what other communities do, and talk from there, go to the coffee shop, and then wherever else and stuff like that, and see what, how towns are running and wherever.
Yeah, there'll be some time for them to explore the town and make some rounds and talk to people on their own if they're interested. But it'll also give the town employees and the department heads an opportunity to have some conversation with the applicants as well. And you guys, if you're available, can observe that.
Absolutely.
As part of your process, and you can take it into your final interview.
Yeah, we can be, as they say, fly on the wall, and those and stuff like that. But I know our conversations and maybe our interviews or whatever will happen along the way.
Well, without even, I don't want to, this is a very aggressive timeframe, right? And a lot of moons have to line up for that to happen, but I don't think it would be inappropriate for one-on-one meetings with the final candidates, maybe after our group meeting, or I'd have to think about it maybe before. It makes more sense. But I know every one of the members of this board is going to be digging in and doing their due diligence with it.
The position's already been advertised.
Yeah.
And what's the deadline for the applicants?
The 8th.
The 8th, it's on our agenda.
Yep.
So the timeline? Yeah, and if again, this is the initial timeline that we're shooting for and stuff like that, availability and, for the applicants as well as, how many candidates it is. So if things slide out for any particular reason and stuff like that, but I think our goal is to fill this position in early Q4 and go forward from there. So, perfect. Okay.
Off to the races.
All right.
Thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
I'll throw another one out there. When all this went down, one of the individuals I spoke with was former town administrator Mike Kaczynski. I think Mike, if given the opportunity, maybe, I don't want to speak for him, but he provides a fair amount of, a tremendous amount of understanding of how municipalities should run. Curious as to the board's opinion on extending an invite for Mike to apply.
Does he live in Douglas?
He's not a Douglas resident.
He's a Blackstone resident.
Mike to apply?
You mean apply for the job?
Well, to your point, we have a lot of respect for Mike Kaczynski, and we've already spoken to him.
Okay.
He's not going to apply, but he will opine on any questions that we have.
As an ex officio?
As an ex officio.
Ex officio, okay.
I would welcome that.
Yeah.
He has volunteered to give his opinion, professional opinion.
And again, and that's, I've seen that done in multiple communities and stuff like that, where, long-time retired, again, I don't think Mike's retired, but again, some folks that were retired have helped part of the search committee or helped along these processes because they got a little more background.
Right.
Understanding, so completely good valid point. So, all right. We all good? We want any other votes we need to take on that? We're good? All right, moving forward. Number 10, let's sign the state primary warrant, election warrant.
Some votes. Typo. District attorney says middle district. I think it should be Worcester.
Number 10, let's see what we got.
District attorney.
Second from the bottom.
Unless that's a new designation for the district attorney, I don't think so. Just like register of probate, Worcester District.
I don't think I have that.
You know this?
I probably have it.
Oh,
It might just be.
I'm wondering if it's, I'm not sure if it's,
The middle district refers to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office.
because he's in the middle of Worcester County. Because they've been.
Oh, there's multiple?
They've been separating.
Okay,
They've been
all right.
separating north,
Good.
Yeah.
middle, and
Thanks.
at some point they're gonna give us a south, I think. So,
I see what you said.
yep, sure. I think that's the one I got signed. Yep.
Didn't know.
All right.
Multiple.
Any,
Run into the district.
Yep.
Sign the state primary election warrant.
Motion by Mike. Second by Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. We move forward. All right. Number 11. Number 11, contracts and quotes for review and possible votes. The IT, connection-wise, and Screen Connect quote. Gene, is this your item? No? Okay. Sorry, before our meeting. All right. So we got.
Kyle, how many DAs do we have? How many DAs in the state?
I thought each county had one. I didn't know that they broke.
I'm sorry?
It's not true in Norfolk County, there's just one. Suffolk County is just one.
Yeah, it's confusing. All right.
Dave, the IT director, Dave, brought this forward, and because it's a reoccurring monthly cost, and he does have this in his budget, but he wanted to have it approved in the policy that we've made here, is that we bring any contract before the board, before the chief signs.
Okay.
He did say it was only for the RMM portion.
Yep.
Although there was three different quotes on it, three different amounts. So it would be the 1,000 one time and then the 300 monthly.
Okay.
And this is used for remote access for employees.
Yep. That's perfectly fine. Any other questions before the board? No?
No, I think it's just a formality.
Yep.
Go through.
All right. Entertain a motion to
Make a motion to approve, I guess, the RMM implementation $1,000 one-time fee and the RMM Pro W/Screen Connect $300 a month contracts.
Second. All right, motion by Mike, second by Ross. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Lisa, for shedding the light on that. Moving forward, number 12, grant acceptance and possible votes. The Green Communities DORE grant. Is that number right there, Lisa?
Yeah.
$236,569.
So this has pieces on your list, on your second page, of what it is going towards, the funds. There's quite a few things listed there.
And they're restricted by project, by dollar amount.
Where's the heat pump system going?
Well, quite a few.
Wastewater treatment plant.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got the
Glen Street Pump Station, West Street Pump Station, wastewater treatment plant, weather stripping.
Yep.
Glen Street Pump Station, weather stripping.
Great.
Street Pump Station, weatherization. Highway building, weather stripping. Elementary school LED lighting, which is the largest amount of $182,342. And $5,000 for a city administration assistant.
We're certainly getting more grants than we had back a few years.
Green Communities grant, yeah.
Correct. Just kudos on the grant applications and stuff like that. Again, this $182,000 for the LED lighting at the elementary school end up probably saving us quite a few thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars on the electric bill because they're actually going to upgrade that lighting to LED, which is a benefit to our community. So
is this the Green Community grant? That goes back to Matt Benoit, doesn't it, for the LED upgrades to the schools? So
He did.
on for a few years.
Yeah, he did.
Been good.
The only thing I'm seeking to clarify is to make sure there's no matching funds or any percentage to the town.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
if there
that's
are
important.
any, then we would have to address that at the fall town meeting.
We do have that question out to John Charbonneau to look into.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate you raising that, because sometimes that's a unexpected surprise, right? So anytime there's expected match or contributions from the town when we don't expect it.
Because we have had to put this on for town meetings.
We have it as a ticket item,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we don't miss it.
All right. Good.
So Gene, with this motion, can we just do the bulk number, or do you need all of them?
No, because it's specific for the grant. They're identifying it. So I'm fine with you accepting the grant as
a whole.
as presented.
So then I will make the motion that we accept the Department of Energy Resources grant in the amount of $236,569 via the Green Communities Act.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0, perfect. On to our meeting minutes and possible votes.
Just one set.
Okay, what do we have? August 4th. In our packets.
Al, I believe you were absent.
Yep.
I'll abstain, or what was that? Yep. You should have swung the other way.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. Tim. Yep.
Make a motion to approve the August 4th, 2026 meeting minutes as written.
Motion by Mike, second by Ross, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and one abstain for Hal. All right, any topics not anticipated 48 hours in advance of our meeting? None by Gene, which is great. Number 15, entertain a motion to?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion by Mike, second by Ross, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.